host, Shank.
Hello, what's up?
Yes, sir. Today's Friday. I think we last time we discussed about Ganesha and Gauri and other things, right? And
Yeah,
from there, where do we go? And today we're talking about Hanuman Chalisa, right? So today's gonna be an interesting discussion, and I was just glad that we're gonna have this talk. I think it was long time coming. We were supposed to have the discussion way
definitely.
back, right? So how
I
are
think
things
we
so far?
planned this like so many
Yes,
weeks
sir.
ago, and then finally today is the day that we're doing this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been amazing. So many podcasts that we've done. I think I'm really getting into that groove and really enjoying doing these things. So yeah, always up for it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we've had a good run and we covered most interesting topics as well. At least, for something that we would prefer hearing, something of those sort, we've covered.
Yeah,
And we've shared a lot of interesting topics as well out there, right? Right. We've
yeah,
uh,
definitely.
we've discussed some interesting topics and we've shared some interesting information across as well for other people to also hear. And today is one of those days again. We were trying to talk about Hanuman Chalisa, very famous Again, Hanuman Chalisa, there's no need for introduction, very famous. And recently I noticed that younger generation happened to be paying attention to a lot of Hanuman Chalisa lately, though. There was a news recently somewhere in North India. People were outside the cafe, a group of young people around 25 to 35, between that age group. They were just singing Hanuman Chalisa and playing with musical instruments and everything, just some regular office going and people of that sort. Right. So, and a lot of people are into Hanuman Chalisa these days. And why do they do it? What is the benefit? What is the significance? Each one has their own reason why they're doing it. So, let's start with that. So, you tell us, what is Hanuman Chalisa? Why is it important? And what's the story behind it?
So Hanuman Chalisa is basically praising the divine, and it's also sort of like how do you say this? It's sort of creating a protective layer around the person who is actually chanting the Hanuman Chalisa. So it's not just as simple as chanting a shloka and then forgetting all about it. It's more about creating a sort of divine vibration around you so that it's sort of like an effort to connect with God altogether. And Hanuman is a bridge between me and the ultimate divine, the Paramatma, the Atma and the Paramatma. He's the bridge between them. And also, you said that there's increasing popularity with people, the youngsters always being attracted towards Hanuman Chalisa and then chanting it every day. So one of the main reasons why this is the case is because of the relatability of Hanuman. As in, Hanuman is not just another god, he's not just another demigod, who's a benevolent god who's going around and blessing people, and it's not as simple as that. Hanuman is a complex character. He's not just a demigod, he's also a devotee himself. So that's what makes him so much relatable with the common devotees, the human beings that worship gods. They're not actually worshipping a god, they're also worshipping a devotee in order to reach God. So the speciality of Hanuman being that he's still believed to reside in Bhuloka. I'm stating Bhuloka specifically because um, I don't mean this particular ground that we walk on particularly. I mean that the plane that we live in, the dimension that we live in, Bhuloka being the Midgard, middle dimension within the 14 lokas. It is said that Hanuman resides amongst us in this dimension itself. So that's what makes people get connected to him so fast, because he's a quick responder. So whenever you're stuck in a situation or you feel like you're experiencing a negative influence, Hanuman is always there to just swoop in and protect you from that inconvenience of your life. And many people have this misconception that chanting Hanuman Chalisa is just gonna erase away all of your problems, and it's just gonna make them vanish into thin air. But that's not the case. That's sort of um, not the case. That's more of a case where when you chant Hanuman Chalisa, when you praise Hanuman in that way, when you devote yourself to him and to Lord Sri Ram, they give you the strength to face your problems. It's not as simple as vanishing your problems into thin air. It's just that you are more confident within yourself. You are more willing to face those challenges instead of running away from them without chanting the prayer in the first place. So I think, in my opinion, that's what connected with all of these people. And as you know, there's going to be a significant rise in spiritualism in the coming few years. And I think that everyone can agree with me on that point, where people are becoming more and more spiritual. They are chanting the Lord's name more and more frequently. And that is supposed to happen. In the Puranas, it is said that there will be a spiritual boom at the start of Kali Yuga itself, and then slowly it's going to decline. But yeah, that's for a later period. That's starting 10,000 years. It's going to be a period wherein more and more people are going to be spiritual, more and more people are going to try to gain this knowledge, and more people are going to be trying to link themselves with God, so that they can have a higher spiritual experience. And ultimately, the ultimate goal is to be free from the cycle of uh, birth and death. So at so yeah, that's the basic premise of why we do what we do, why we pray to the gods that we pray to. And yeah, so that's the gist of it. I know I went a little off topic, but yeah, that was necessary to sort of establish what I was trying to put across.
Yes, sir, I agree. So you mentioned about how Hanuman Chalisa, when you recite Hanuman Chalisa, your worries are taken away, your tension, your depression, or whatever anxiety, whatever problems you have, seems
Hmm.
to disappear. Like each one, there could be different reasons why or whatnot, but I specifically want to talk about a verse within Hanuman Chalisa. I'm not
Yep.
sure. At some point we will cover that, but I'll just mention right now. The verse
Hmm.
goes, "Sab sukh hai tumhari sarna, tum rakshak kahu ka darna." In other words, everything is going to be fine with you around. When you are around, why should I even fear? In the same manner,
Hmm.
when you recite this fear, anxiety, and all those things, just you know, don't recite at the same time recite Hanuman Chalisa as well, right? And it's
Yeah.
also a saying that it's not just Hanuman Chalisa is not just when you recite it, you get Hanuman himself coming and helping you with it. It's more like you can tap when you recite Hanuman Chalisa and
Hmm.
Hanuman Chalisa, those verses are so powerful that you tap into some of his energy yourself. And by tapping into that energy, you get that protection, right?
Yeah.
And the benefits you get that by just because it is not just a prayer. This is considered. There are several people who consider this to be one of the Maha Mantras as well. One of the most powerful mantras out there, which is Hanuman Chalisa. Simple and yet powerful.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty of this entire shloka. That's the beauty of this entire mantra, is because it is so simple yet so powerful. So simple yet so complex that even the normal person who is not having any prior spiritual experience, even they can chant this and have a completely unique experience of their own. And that's what makes it so special and so accessible to so many people, and why they are moving towards this path. And yeah, like you mentioned, it's not as simple as just vanishing all of your worries at one time. It's more complex than that. It's about creating a positive vibration around you by chanting this shloka altogether. So yeah, uh, that's sort of the entire concept of this shloka that was composed by Tulsidas around 500 to 600 years ago. It is more than just a simple shloka. It is about creating those about hitting those positive notes around you, so that these worries that you have, these negative thoughts that you have, they're just going to vanish away. So yeah.
Mhm. So you mentioned about Tulsidas, the one who created the Hanuman Chalisa. Again, Hanuman Chalisa did not come at the early part of the country. It came in somewhere in the mid, if I'm not mistaken, 13th to 14th centuries, around 600 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
during that time, we were already under invasion. And even the way Tulsidas wrote the Hanuman Chalisa, he was imprisoned at that point of time, correct? So he was
Yeah.
imprisoned, and then something happened, and then that's what gave birth to Hanuman Chalisa.
Yeah. So yeah, that's some that event that happened. It was in a period where I think it was the Mughal rule, where the period of Tulsidas came by, and Tulsidas was imprisoned for a few crimes that the king thought that he committed. But yeah, he was a pure soul in his own respect. But yeah, when he was imprisoned, he had a divine experience, and this divine experience led to him composing the Hanuman Chalisa, so that the people can access this, can tap into this divine experience, and have unique experiences of their own. So the divine experience that I'm talking about is he witnessed Sri Ram himself, and it happened through Hanuman. So uh, I'm sure everyone knows, most of the people know that Hanuman stayed on the earth plane on Bhuloka with the condition that
Hmm.
as long as Sri Ram's name is being taken by human beings, I'm gonna stay in this place. So that was the basic condition that Hanuman put forth uh, before Lord Ram. I mean, after Lord Ram descended through the lokas, and he went into another plane. Hanuman chose to stay because he wanted to stay in a place where Lord Ram's name is chanted, and he wanted to be amongst the devotees. He wanted to be a devotee himself. That's the simplicity of Lord Hanuman. So yeah, um, Tulsidas had this divine experience where he witnessed the Lord himself. And then a few years later, it was not in the same time, but yeah, it was a few years later where he came up. He sort of, this Hanuman Chalisa appeared in front of him. It's not to be taken literally. Uh, this he was able to come up with the Hanuman Chalisa, and then there was this whole period where he sort of spread the popularity of Hanuman Chalisa amongst the devotees, and yeah, they were able to have experiences of their own. So that's the brief origin of how and where Hanuman Chalisa came from, and also to people who don't know this, the Ramcharitmanas, such a beautiful text. It was written by Tulsidas itself, and it was in the same overlapping period wherein he was later freed from his imprisonment, and then he decided to write all of these texts. These beautiful texts were designed, and yeah, all of this happened.
Got it. So I wanted to talk about Tulsidas meeting Hanuman. Like there is a story to it as well, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
The story goes that so Tulsidas, again, this incident happened in Varanasi, which is again known to be one of the most
yeah.
divine places in India, right? And
Mm-hmm,
again, Varanasi or Banaras or however that name you use, it's not just any
mm-hmm,
place. It's a place where Kashi Vishwanath, which is Shiva himself, had come there, where he says this is the holiest place on any part of the planet, right? Declared by
yeah,
Shiva himself. So he was
yeah.
in Varanasi, and Tulsidas, when he used to go to, he used to carry a water pot. He used to, pour water to a tree every day
Mm-hmm,
in the morning. And there was a preta, a type of a ghost which prefers water, thirsty for water, right? The
yeah.
preta, what do you call it? So
Mm-hmm,
one day the preta appeared and offered him a boon. It's like, hey, what do you want? Tell me. Since you've been doing this nice gesture, been pouring water, and I've been, benefiting out of it. So I'll give you a boon. So
mm-hmm,
Tulsidas wished to see Lord Rama.
mm-hmm,
Now, the Preta, who is not a superior being who can offer that kind of, again, Lord Rama in the hierarchy of gods ranks way
mm-hmm,
above, and Preta is a different being altogether, does not have that kind of power. So the Preta says that I do not have the kind of power to make that boon happen. But what I can do is I can guide you to a path where you can meet Lord Hanuman, who can
mm-hmm.
grant you that boon,
Yeah.
right? And the praise of Hanuman comes, and he also told her that Hanuman comes every day in disguise as a leopard to listen to Ramakatha, and
Mm-hmm,
he's the first to arrive and last to leave. This is
Yeah.
another tradition followed throughout India. Whenever Ramayana is played or Ramayana's, a movie, anything, there is a one seat hoping that Hanuman would come and watch it, because wherever Ramayana is read out or is played, Hanuman would appear. That's the belief system of every Hindu, right? So they
Yeah.
always leave one seat. Even in the movies, recently there was the movie Hanuman, which happened in Telugu movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that as well as the Hindi one. I think Adi Purush
Adi,
appeared as
yeah, Adi Purush. They made a whole scene out of that.
correct. They also reserved one seat, kept it aside for Hanuman. Like, I think I don't know
Yeah.
which one of those movies did the same though. They followed that tradition, right? Which is nice
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's a tradition followed uh, for a very long time, and when the movie industry kind of used that as well. And during this story, so he understood there is comes as a leper who comes
Mm-hmm.
first and leaves last, right? So Tulsidas waits for this person. He goes with the gathering where the Ramakatha is discussed, and then he sees a leper, and then he follows the leper quietly and into the forest. Like, he goes to the forest and he follows it, and then he sees Hanuman, like in a Hanuman temple, and that's when he falls to the leper's feet and he said, "I know who you are, and this is you are Lord Hanuman, and this is what it is." And at this point, it wasn't. Hanuman was surprised and think it was all part of the Leela, right? Hanuman was expecting, and he was like, he revealed himself,
Yeah.
saying like, "You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, finally you found me. So I know what you're looking for, and I can grant you that boon." So that's where this entire thing happened. And that's when I think this entire thing is described in Ramcharitmanas, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the
Yeah.
first part
Exactly.
of in the beginning, it is clearly mentioned about Tulsidas bowed down to a particular preta and asked for grace of, and then it starts the story, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there are some variations of the story wherein Tulsidas had access to meeting Lord Rama when he was meditating for Lord Rama. You know, this happened way after his imprisonment, and then he got released under the rule of Akbar, the famous Mughal king. So there's one variation of the story wherein he was chanting the name of Lord Rama, and then Hanuman, as a monkey, he was disguised as a monkey. He appeared out of a tree and then gave him darshan, and then that led to Tulsidas gaining access to Lord Rama later and having darshan of him as well. Wherein Lord Rama came in the disguise of a Brahmin boy, I think. But yeah, there are variations to the story.
Correct. And also, there isn't one darshan. Hanuman has constantly visited Tulsidas, if I'm not mistaken, because we're
Yeah.
talking about different scenarios. And also, when he
Mhm.
was in prison as well, Hanuman did appear in front of Tulsidas. So
Yeah.
he had come in multiple times and he has visited him. So
Mhm.
that itself was a biggest achievement for one to claim that Lord Hanuman comes to visit this person more than once, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, even if I have to take different versions, I see them as different time frames when this event happened, because each time when the story goes, it is evident that in a way Tulsidas did had interaction with Hanuman several times. First time for the Ramcharitmanas, before the Ramcharitmanas, then to meet the Lord Rama, then for
Mhm.
Ramcharitmanas, and then for Hanuman Chalisa. At least three times he's visited him, if my
Yeah.
count is right. There could be more,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing three times at least.
And three properly documented times. So yeah.
Yes, sir. So Hanuman Chalisa again, it's why is it called Chalisa? Like, what makes it a Chalisa? Could you explain
Yeah.
that?
So Chalisa just means Chalis, the Hindi word for 40, Chalis. Because there are 40 chopais in the entire Hanuman Chalisa. Chopai is it's sort of like a paragraph segment of the entire shloka. So there are 40 such segments in the entire shloka. So that's why it's called as Chalisa. And many people might not know this, but it's known as Chalisa for a reason. And also, many of the Maha mantras that we know, as in, I'm not talking about um, half the half completed mantras. You know, many mantras are just cut short so that the people can chant it. But there are complete versions of mantras wherein there is a total of 40 shlokas. So would you be okay if I just go quickly run through those why there's only 40, why is it this decided number?
Yes, sir, of course.
Yeah. So it's basically based on the whole fact of the human life, wherein we have 24 tattvas and we have 16 sanskaras. So 24 tattvas basically meaning that we have 24 values, we have 24 elements. Elements would be a proper way of putting them. So we have 24 elements that we go through in our entire lifetime. And these are not just hit and go kind of things. These are things that you're supposed to experience, that you will experience in your entire life. And so the 24 tattvas consists of five jnana indriyas, five knowledgeable uh, senses, and five karma indriyas, as in five actionable senses. And there is five mahabhutas, mahabhuta meaning elements of nature, and five tanvantaras, and also four antakaranas. So these are elements that you're supposed to go through in your entire life. Not supposed to go through, that would be a wrong way of putting it. You will go through. It's a definite path that every single human goes through these 24 tattvas in their entire lifetime. Of course, there are some exceptions. So yeah, and apart from these 24 tattvas, there are 16 sanskaras. Now these sanskaras, they're a bit special because these are events that we witness in every most human lives. I mean, of course, there are a lot of exceptions these days. These exceptions increasing day by day as we become more and more atheistic in our society. But yeah, if we follow the Vedas, the Sanatan Dharma, we are introduced to 16 sanskaras throughout our entire lifetime. And these are also known as Shodasa sanskaras. And these are just levels. It's kind of levels, how you're playing a game, and you're supposed to go through different levels in order to advance in your gaming capability. Think of it that way, but just in a more realistic perspective. So there are three sanskaras that you're supposed to do when you're in the womb. When the mother is supposed to go through these sanskaras in order to be connected with you. And there are six childhood sanskaras. Again, I'm sorry, the baby stage of sanskaras, the stages of sanskaras where you experience in your womb. uh, you might experience these as uh, baby shower in a more modernized term, but in old Vedic terms, it is um, garbhadana, wherein the mother is given rice in her saris, cloth material, and that whole ceremony occurs. So yeah, there are three such ceremonies that happen, sanskaras that happen, and six childhood sanskaras. Some of these include the namakarana, the ceremony where the baby is named, and the annaprasanna, wherein the child is feeded for the first time with solid food. That's also one such sanskara. And then the karna veda, and then the nishkarma, and then there are six such sanskaras that take place. And then the 10th to 14th sanskara is sort of the adolescent, the pre-adolescent, the teenage stage of your life where you experience this. There's the Upanayana stage where the child is granted rights to his duties as a man. He's sort of stepping into the stage of being a man. So the Upanayana is where the thread is being given. The thread is being worn by the little kid, and then there is Keshanta, wherein the child gives his hair uh, as a teenager, so that it sort of symbolizes that the child is giving up his own ego and surrendering towards his guru, so that he can be more knowledgeable and he can be less egoistic in his entire life and constantly keep learning with these things. And there's also Vidyarambha, wherein he or she first starts their education. And there are four such stages. And then later, this is the most, I would say, the biggest ceremony in a person's life. the Vivaha Sanskara. Vivaha, as the name states, the marriage ceremony, wherein a man enters into the Grihastha the man just goes in and makes his family, not necessarily a man, but you get the picture. So yeah, and then the last stage, the 16th sanskara, being the antyeshti, being death, the samadhi. So these are the 16 sanskaras and 24 tattvas together make 40, um, 40 in total. So these make up the 40 chopais. So there's a reason why all of these mantras have 40 chopais, 40 shlokas in them. It's because it literally symbolizes the stages that a human faces and goes through in their entire life. And that's sort of amusing if you ask me. They have designed these things in such a way that it can literally, not even significantly, not even symbolically, literally cover the entire human life by the time that you end the shloka. So yeah, this is why it has 40 chopais. And also the Hanuman Chalisa, along with the 40 chopais, it has two dohas in the start. The Sri Guru Charana Sarojara, that's a doha. And then there's also one doha in the end, that's sort of like the ending note. And
Mhm.
yeah, this is the entire Hanuman Chalisa breakdown for you.
And that's a lot of information, though, just so you know, right? So yeah, you covered almost not just the origins, but you gave an idea in terms of what a chaupai is, what is a doha, and more details about Chalisa in specific, right? So yeah, you build a foundation around it. Now anyone who would want to understand these things about these specific topics, they know where to find the answer. Though we have it mentioned here, right? And
Yeah.
Hanuman Chalis again, in terms of as you mentioned, there's two dohas in the start and
Mm-hmm.
one in the end. The doha which you're referring to is like not just any doha. This is the doha which is provided towards the guru, the teacher in Sanatana
Yeah.
Dharma, in our
Mm-hmm.
traditions, whatnot. Teacher plays a major role. I remember when I grew up with this Mata Pita Guru Devam, meaning mother, father,
Mm-hmm.
teacher, and then God.
Yeah.
Right? So even teacher
Exactly.
is far more important than God. And this starts with this very same note where Sri Guru Charana Saroji Raj Nijimana Mukura Sudhari Baruna Raghuvara Bimala Jesu Jodhaika Palachari. That is again dedicated to the teacher.
Yeah. So this entire shloka just sort of helps you in surrendering towards your guru. So as we know, our dharma gives a whole lot of importance towards the guru, and rightly so. The guru is basically the bridge between me and God. The guru is the only person who's capable of taking me on the path to God. He'll not physically pave the path for me, but he's gonna short way, he's going to help me in paving my own path by guiding me on what's to be done and what's not to be done. And the first shloka, Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja, the phrase, the shloka says, the lotus, the lotus feet of the Guru is where I'm surrendering my consciousness, my ego towards. And it goes on Nijamana Mukuru Sudhari, Barano Raghuara Vimalisu, Jodha Ekapalachari. And then it says that by surrendering my ego, my consciousness onto your lotus feet, I would like to help you. I would like you to help me in reciting the name of God, the greatest of the Raghukul dynasty. That's Rama being referred here. And then it's just sort of asking my guru's help in reaching towards Lord Rama. So I'm also, if it's okay, I just wanted to cover on why it's the Saroja Raja, the lotus feet. Why is it the feet that we're touching? Because many
Sure.
people, they sort of, people shy from the idea of touching an elderly person's feet nowadays, and they think that it's sort of dirty, and it's not really necessary to follow that. But yeah, I'd like to just give a context upon why we do that and what's the importance of that. So why only the feet? Because, as you know, just take this example. When you build a building, when you construct a building, the basic thing that you're supposed to consider is the foundation. The foundation is what holds the entire building together. The foundation is where all the strength is. If the foundation is gone, the entire building is going to collapse. The same way, all of your values, all of your sanskriti, all of your tattvas, everything starts from your foundation, and this foundation starts from your feet. All of your, the basic foundation of your body is your feet. The whole the structure that's carrying your body is your feet. Without your feet, you'll not be able to walk. So with that logic, with considering that all of your values and all of your sanskriti lies in your feet, we are basically surrendering ourselves to our guru, wherein we are telling that I am trying to access your wisdom, your knowledge through your feet. So this serves one of two purposes. So the first purpose being that you are literally bowing down in front of the wise man that you know, the in front of his knowledge, in front of his experience, in front of his, not particularly age, because even um, younger people can be knowledgeable as well, but age is not the only factor that we're considering here. In front of his knowledge, in front of his wisdom, in front of everything that he knows, you are literally bowing down your head in reverence, in respect to that. So that's one purpose. The second purpose being that by touching the lotus feet of your guru, of your teacher, or of the person that you respect the most, you are touching, you are trying to gain access, you are trying to access the aura that's in the feet of such a great wisdom, such a great knowledge that they have possessed through their entire life. And that's the whole perspective, that's the whole purpose of touching an elderly person's feet. Of course, nowadays the gurus that you find, everyone knows how they are, and you know touch their feet if you want to. But if you know of a true guru, of a really good guru, whom you know is genuine in their knowledge, in their pursuits of life, then yeah, definitely you are supposed to touch their feet in order to be able to let go of your own ego, in order to be able to gain access to the knowledge that they have. So that's the whole perspective of touching the guru's feet. And
So that
yeah, this is the whole um, sort of brief of the first doha in Hanuman Chalisa.
interesting. There is also another Doha which follows up with that particular Doha, which is also equally interesting as well, right? And
Hmm.
again, this is dedicated to knowledge and education in itself. It goes as Buddhi Hinudana Janike Sumiro Pavan Kumara Bhala Buddhi Vidya Deho Mohi Arahu Kalesa Vikaram, which is knowing my body to be devoid of intelligence. I remember you, the son of Vayu. Grant me
Hmm.
strength, intelligence, and knowledge, and remove all my miseries and impurities. So over here again, he talks about he's humbling himself before the God, and he's saying
Yeah.
that I am. He is knowledgeable. There is no doubt about it. What Tulsidas has composed is legendary in itself. But though he's produced those masterpieces, he considers himself to be not that smart. Again, we're talking about him humbling himself in front of the divine, say that
Hmm.
he needs the guidance. Right. This is again not just for this individual, but when you when you read Hanuman Chalisa, that's again your position as well. You should know, no matter how where you reach, to be humble and to know you could be everything at the same time you could be nothing as well. Right. So he starts with that notion that put yourself in a position where you are nothing and offer to the guru and accept knowledge and then move on.
Yeah, exactly. This is sort of the ultimate surrender in front of Hanuman to be able to access Lord Rama. So Tulsidas is basically telling that um, even though I am having all of this knowledge with me, still I'm nothing in front of you, still I'm nothing in front of nature, I'm nothing in front of God. He's accepting his humbleness. And Pavanaputra, Pavan Kumar meaning Vayuputra, meaning Hanuman, he is asking Hanuman to help him in getting rid of all of his weaknesses, all of his doubts in his mind, and to purify his mind, and to grant him with the strength, the wisdom throughout this entire journey of self discovery, wherein self discovery, I use this particular word because self discovery ultimately means discovering your Atma. And when you discover your Atma, you are discovering Paramatma himself. So, yeah, he is asking for Hanuman's blessing to go forward with this.
Got it. So we spoke about Hanuman Church, we spoke about the other things, but we failed to touch one major thing. Why do people actually, you know, when do people start reading Hanuman Chalis and why do they read? The main superstar of this, all of these 40 verses is two specific verses, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that's exactly how almost everyone would have started, getting into Hanuman Chalisa, which is Bhoot Pisacha Nikatine Yave Mahabir Javanama Sanave, right? That's what got
The
me
famous
attached to
one,
it first to begin with.
the famous lines.
The famous lines, yeah. So that is something which we need to discuss because no matter, see, we all know that Hanuman, reading Hanuman also gives you multiple things. It gives you knowledge, it gives you courage, protection, fear, and all those things, right? But one thing which
Hmm.
it offers that no other mantra promises to deliver in this magnitude is that evil spirits or demonic possessions or anything of that sort, no evil entities will ever reach you when you utter the word Mahabir,
Hmm.
right? So that is a
Yeah.
very bold claim, but that claim does not come randomly. Hanuman is the god destined to vanquish all evil, right? And when the Hanuman Chalisa, and you've noticed as well, Hanuman Chalisa is being read or is being recited anytime someone feels fear, anytime someone is in a position where they think there's some kind of evil spirit, they do read it and immediately they feel relaxed. They don't have that fear anymore, right? And what are your experience in terms of the demonic entities and Hanuman Chalisa, whose benefits?
Yeah, so many times, me as a human being, you as a human being, we experience negative vibes. When you talk to someone or when you're alone in a room, you sometimes feel like you are not alone, and you feel so unsafe amongst yourself. Even though you know that you're completely alone, you feel like, no, there's something that's not sitting right with me. I'm sure everyone has this feeling, and at that time is when Hanuman Chalisa comes into place. So many people, I've heard so many people say that during these times of needs, Hanuman is the one that rescues us. Hanuman is the one that responds so quickly that instantly, the moment that I start reciting Hanuman Chalisa, I'm filled with a level of confidence, a level of trust within the Lord, that it's almost a divine experience. And there's a reason for this because, as you know, Hanuman is still in this plane itself. He's still in Bhuloka itself. And that's one of the major reasons why he responds as quickly as he does. As soon as you take his name, or you take Lord Rama's name, Hanuman, it's not necessary that Hanuman is going to come here physically in order to help you out. He's going to send help in some way or the other. It's not necessary that he himself has to come down here. Remember that he's a demigod, and yeah, that's one of the main reasons why his Chalisa, his shloka, works so well. He's so close to us, he is so close to our hearts, that just chanting his name, just chanting this simple shloka, not simple in a literally way, but yeah, just chanting this easily accessible shloka just fills you up with that courage, with that braveness, with that strength, that it almost feels like he's with you. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why so many people, there are more devotees of Lord Hanuman than Lord Rama himself. That itself explains the magnitude of his reach, the amount of trust that the people have in him. So yeah, that's so amazing.
Yes, sir. So yeah, Hanuman Chalis again. What I have read again, you don't even need to read the entire Hanuman Chalisa. The verses goes like, just say the word Mahabir and nothing will come close to you. Now that's a very bold claim to make, right? And that's one of the interesting. I mean, it's probably one of the best things you could have come. Imagine suddenly you feel something, and all you have to just say is Mahabir, and you suddenly feel, and everything like everything more relaxed, and everything is just left you aside peacefully. Like imagine there was an evil spirit sitting right next to you, waiting to pounce at you and pounce on you, and the next thing is this is Mahabir, like, you know what? Let me pack up my bags and like sleep.
Exactly. That's how it happens.
So yeah, it's one of the coolest. And I've noticed many people who actually are into Hanuman Chalisa. This is how they have started as well. When people start young, they start
Mhm,
for this one particular reason that they're afraid of ghosts. Like kids, that's how. When I remember when I started reading Hanuman Chalisa, it was an accident actually. To be frank, it was an
mhm,
accident when I started reading Hanuman Chalisa. I didn't have enough money to buy a bigger book, so I only could buy a smaller book when I was a kid, right?
uh-huh,
Primary school or mid-level school, right? I went
mhm,
to a Ramakrishna Mutt, and my school took me to a Ramakrishna Mutt, and
mhm,
it was like last minute thing, and I have some money in my bag, and I could only buy a small book, and that book happened to be Hanuman Chalisa, right? It's just total coincidence. Maybe not, right? You never know. And that's how it started for me. But then I started following my own rituals to practice other things, right? But everyone that
mhm,
I've heard of reads Hanuman Chalisas because at
mhm,
some point in their life they were afraid of things, and someone would have suggested that read Hanuman Chalisa, things would be better, and they started reading it, and things have been better for them, and they no longer feel the same. And another best thing is reading Hanuman Chalisa not just keeps evil spirits, as in like demonic entities, even keeps evil people away from you. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, when you're involved in these kind of ritualistic practice, like let's just say you want to do certain things on a certain day, like you work. For me, how I worship is that Tuesdays and Saturdays, right? I
mhm.
do not indulge in non-veg, or I'm celibate, and also I don't drink. So my activities on these but two particular day, these are the days when typically other people are involved in other activities as well, right? So I try to keep myself away from these things because I don't want to participate in those, right? And people who understand, they are okay with it. People who might not be happy with it, they would eventually not be happy, would not agree, and they might leave. So in either which ways, negative entities, not only negative entities, even people with negative intentions or people with different mindset which don't align with yours would also be warded off in a way. Right? It's not a loss for me, frankly speaking.
Yeah.
Right? I would suggest the same thing to you. If someone is not adding value to your life, right, and they're just constantly putting it down, then they have to go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And in a way, I kind of feel this does help in certain things in certain way, but forget about me. How do you actually start worshiping Hanuman? How do you read Hanuman Chalisa? When should you start worshiping it? And what is the method to do it? And each one might have a method, but what is the right way to do it?
Yeah, so there is a right way, but it's not a hard and fast rule that you're supposed to do this, and if you don't do this, there are going to be consequences. So, yeah, the rule that I'm talking about is a specific time to chant Hanuman Chalisa. Hanuman Chalisa does not have hard and fast rule wherein there are certain mantras that you're not supposed to do during the daytime, and there are certain mantras that you're not supposed to do during the nighttime. But Hanuman Chalisa, the speciality is that there's no such time for that, but there is one ideal time where you can do that. That's the Brahma Muhurta. So this is essentially the time between 3:30 a.m. to 4:30 to 5 a.m. in the morning. This is when you chant the Hanuman Chalisa, and you're going to reap the maximum benefits from it. Not talking about the um, results of your actions. I'm talking about the spiritual connection that you're going to feel with the deity at that time is a bit stronger than when you do it another time. So it's generally ideal, but yeah, it's not a hard and fast rule that you're supposed to do it at this time, and if you don't do it at this time, it's going to be bad for you. No, it's not that way. And also, um, when you're doing Hanuman Chalisa, as you know, Hanuman is a brahmachari. He's a Bala brahmachari, meaning that he has been celibate his whole life. He is a brahmachari. He's the most supreme brahmachari in this entire plane. And yeah, that just goes to say without any indication that when you are gonna do ritual about Hanuman Chalisa, as in if you're willing to do a 21 days or 40-day continuous chanting when you wake up during the Brahma Muhurta every single day and you're chanting Hanuman Chalisa. So it's generally a good idea to remain celibate throughout that entire period, and also meat consumption, um, alcohol consumption. These are just rules that go without saying, wherein it's almost as an insult to the deity if you're going to be doing these things and chant Hanuman Chalisa. You're not going to be able to really connect with the deity. You're just going to be mumbling a few words and then you're just going to be going out and going in, and it's a whole mess. So it's generally a good idea to remain celibate, stay away from alcohol, meat consumption while you're doing a ritual about Hanuman Chalisa. So this is the ideal way. Again, not a hard and fast rule about the timing though, but the other things, yeah, those are good to follow.
I agree. So yeah, there are no limitations, restrictions, or a specific way I've come across as well, right? So
Mhm.
one one type of faith, or one type of mantra which gives you that freedom. And again, Hanuman Chalisa doesn't have to be read. See, we talk about not reading during meat consumption or anything of that sort of involvement as well, right? But
Mhm.
not that it cannot be. In other words, right? If at all you think that you require that, for example, you are disturbed and you require that, doesn't matter what position you are in, what situation you are in, you could still say that, right? Because there is no
Yeah,
such rule. But as a habit, as a devotion, it's always to do it with clean mind, clean body. As we discussed last time, the clean mind is more important than anything else, right? So clean mind, a
yeah,
clean body, because clean body automatically cleans the mind, cleanses the mind as well, right?
yeah, and
And
ultimately leading to the cleansing of your soul.
exactly. So all of those things are helpful, and that's
Hmm?
the whole point.
Yeah, I do completely agree with you on that. And that's the real beauty of this mantra. Anybody can do it at any time. Anyone can have access to it. It's not that a particular person cannot do it or can do it. That's the real beauty of this entire mantra, the Hanuman Chalisa.
Yes, sir. So, just an understanding, what do we do? What do we read Hanuman Chalisa for? For the obvious reason, of course, yeah. If you are someone who's afraid of any evil spirits, any ghosts, anything of that sort, read Hanuman Chalisa. The courage that it gives you, there is no equivalent to it at all, right? And not just for fear of ghosts, fear of anything, fear of life itself, right? Any fear that you have,
Yeah.
when you think that you're disturbed, when you think that you have lost something, when you think that what is going to happen tomorrow, when you have that kind of fear, when you have that kind of doubt, read Hanuman Chalisa. This has worked for me, right? There is no, I don't
Mhm.
have any care about any other. Again, this is not just Hanuman Chalisa. We have it in Bhagavad Gita. So do your duty to the fullest and leave the next to me is what Lord Krishna says, correct? And you do
Yeah.
your job. Whatever happens, I'll take care of it. But you do your job. The same way, you do your job, but don't worry about what's affecting, what is not, right? And as long as
Yeah,
that is done,
exactly.
it's good.
Mhm. As long as we're doing our duties, it's all good. Everything else is going to be taken care of by the universe. We're not supposed to worry about all of that. It's all in the grand scheme that we're supposed to do this. Every action that we do is already being written, and everything that we are about to do is already written. So you don't have to worry about everything. So yeah, it's all good.
Yes, sir. And yeah, so we spoke about the fear, how it overcomes fear, how it helps you with your spiritual growth, how it helps you with deepening your faith. Then I said, even if we mentioned about this discussion earlier, right? When you start doing certain things a certain time, a certain day, a certain way, it builds discipline.
Hmm.
Even if it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be God, doesn't have to be religion. Even if you
Hmm.
just wake up early in the morning every single day and follow a certain discipline just to ensure that you take care of a tree, which is still good enough, right? Because that's discipline. There is
Yeah.
no there. I could even argue this because no Hindu would get offended. There's no discipline. There's no God who's even over discipline as well. Even God's pretty much put discipline as a priority. Respect, discipline, all of these things are a primary thing, right? So discipline is ultimate. Dharma is ultimate. So no God is going to have a problem if you focus on those primarily, and then the gods as well. right? Because to my knowledge, I've never come across any god saying like, stop following the dharma, just follow me, let go of your dharma. No, that's not how it's been done. All the
Yeah,
itihasas we've had speaks of dharma alone. Like, do your dharma, whatever it is, no matter the consequence, do your dharma, right? Forget about the consequences.
yeah, exactly. And also one more thing, people sort of, this is including me, not just other people. People sort of think that doing good actions might lead to bad consequences, because you always see people who do bad actions, they get good results in return. And that sort of makes you wonder sometimes, wherein you think that, oh, okay, even if I go ahead and do bad, take out bad decisions and do some bad karma of my own, I'm going to get good results. But yeah, that's not the case. Ultimately, the people who are going to do bad karma, bad actions, they're going to repent it later on, because it's a whole mechanism wherein when you conduct a bad karma, your good karma, your the good karma in your account is getting reduced, as in it's getting spent. And when you do a good karma, your bad karma in your account is getting spent at the same time. So that's why sometimes you might experience hardships when you conduct yourself in a good way, in good karma. And that's why you might get good results when you do bad karma. So don't get disheartened by that. I'm sure everyone, including me, has those thoughts. So I just wanted to throw it out there.
Good. That's a good one though, because if you look at things, right, there's actually a famous saying. This is one thing which I've seen somewhere, say that schools teach you how to follow rules, but it does not teach you how to be popular or successful. People who break the rules are successful. Of course, they are. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But these successes tend to be temporary. They don't they don't become permanent. Yeah, some people they might even have a permanent throughout their life. They could reap the benefits, but Hinduism talks about a continuous cycle, not just done and dusted for one cycle, right? There's more happening,
Yeah.
right? And as you mentioned, if not now, eventually everyone has a game, everyone has a play, everyone has a role, and all of those things would
Mhm.
eventually, open itself when the time was right, right? And the best thing that we could do
Yeah.
at this point is not focus on someone else, their benefits or their grievances, but focus on ourselves, right? When you
Exactly.
drive with your face ahead on the straight towards facing the road, and when you drive, you are far less likely to meet with an accident than when you're looking behind and see what's the other person doing.
Exactly. That's a good point.
So these things, Hanuman Chalisa helps me in this way. Like, it makes me focus on my problems, my obstacles, whatever issues I'm facing, and it tells me not to pay attention to others or any what the others might be doing, anything of that sort. Because the time you focus on someone else, you start losing focus on yourself, right? So
Yeah.
end of the day, just do your duty, and whatever
Mhm.
you are to do it. Do it with happiness. Do it whatever. Doesn't matter if it's a big one or a small role. Doesn't really matter. Do it. For example, take our live stream for example, right? We don't have a lot of people watching it. We have very few. We have probably one or two people watching it every now and then, right? Right. And
Yeah.
but my duty is to do it. Our duty, your duty is to do the same, right? So our duty is to
Yeah.
present this information. The output doesn't really matter, right? All I care is one person or two-person who would want to understand and learn. That is good enough for me.
Mhm.
We don't intend to have this message cascaded to the entire world. Like, not everyone. Okay, when Kirti and Shashank goes, when they go live, we'll all have to stop and listen to them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Being so self-centered all the time, it's not a good idea. Just have to sometimes carry out your own thing.
Yes, sir. So again, come back to the main man. One of my favorite, favorite things to talk about. My Hanuman is my favorite god. Right? I am a ardent devotee of Hanuman, so I'm always happy to talk about him. Right? But I'm also happy to hear about him as well at the same time. That's the beauty of it as well. So one thing which commonly comes out, no matter where you go, the topic of negativity, topic of evil spirit always comes in, and there is no end to it. And
Mhm.
apart from that, we've also discussed there are so many things Hanuman Chalisa or Hanuman himself does. But we're talking about Hanuman Chalisa over here. So
Mhm.
what I would want to specifically talk about over here, what is the take of this particular book? Each To my understanding, each of those uh, verses did not come out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Just to be clear, each of the verses, when Tulsidas wrote those things, he took a story of it and then he made the verses. He took he there was an actual actual event, right, which happened, and out of
Mm-hmm.
that he took certain things in a poetic way to put it in two liners. That's what the chalice is all about, right? So even though the words themselves carry power and carry a deep meaning, the stories behind it also have a very strong meaning as well. I think there would come a time we could break them up and explain those things in a more detailed fashion, but maybe not today. But yeah, that'll be a time that we can do it. We can discuss about these stories. We can discuss about where these lines came from. Why is he called Vajra? Why is he called Vajrabali? There's so many things which we could talk about, right? And
Yeah.
and also the blessing, like why the famous line again, booth pisach nikad nahi ave mahabir jab naam sunave, who gave him that authority, where did he get that authority from? All of those things are mentioned clearly. It's not just random words put in a paper or in a leaf, right? So
Yeah.
is it effective? My personal opinion, yes, it is. Every time I have had a, a, a bad time, when I say a bad time, somewhere you have a slump. Everyone has a slump at some point, right? Either it's placebo effect
Mm-hmm.
or either it's the actual thing. That's perception. Each one would have a different perception. But whenever I've had a slump and whenever I wanted to get out of it, subconsciously I tend to move towards Hanuman. That's how it was always been as a kid. Again, this was me when I was a kid, and as I grew up,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized like this is not, again, I don't get to pick and choose when it is. At some point, I have to accept it. This is what it is, and that's how I started, following Hanuman more carefully as a grown up, and it has helped me. And I always notice that the benefits of Hanuman Chalisa is present. It is evident. It is credible, and I would vouch for it personally. If at all you are any kind of disturbance, your mind is messed up, you're upset, you are in fear, you are in dilemma, anything of that sort, comfortably
Mm-hmm.
read Hanuman Chalisa, and that should do it for you. That's my, that's my take in terms of Hanuman Chalisa. That's my conclusion, I would say.
Yes, exactly. And so many stories to cover, so many hidden stories in each of those chopais that it can literally take you 2 or 3 days continuously just to cover all of those stories. And that's the most wonderful thing about this. Tulsidas, what he has done, um, like you stated, he has just taken the summary of each and every story and he has put it in a poetic way. And it's such a clever thing that he has done on his hand. And so many people have benefited from him. And it's hard to disagree when you say that Hanuman Chalisa is sort of always there to rescue me at the time of need. And Hanuman, through the Hanuman Chalisa, always swoops in to rescue at the time of need, and he's always there. He's my favorite, every most of the people's favorite. It's hard to not fall in love with him.
Yes, sir. I agree. So yeah, there would come a time we would have to do more about this, but yeah, maybe today might not be the day. But at some point, yes, we would try to cover more about Hanuman and Hanuman Chalisa, or especially I would like to cover in detail about the demonic spirits or the evil spirits within Hinduism, because the understanding of evil is not the same as Abrahamic faith or the Western religion. We don't have a similar conception. There's a
Yeah.
different way in terms of how evil is viewed here. But at the same time, we
Hmm.
do have different stories which covers about a certain type of entities which came in later. Again, we're talking about during the British invasion, right? All of those time, we've had a different
Hmm.
take in terms of evil spirits. Which one is as per the scriptures, which one is not? That's a different discussion altogether, right? And
Yeah.
maybe we can also discuss, does Hanuman Chalisa work on Indian spirits or international spirits? Like, on a funny note, yeah, we can also investigate that.
Yeah, we're gonna be recording visas for both Pishas.
Actually, is it just Bhoot Pisach Nikad Nahi Aave? Is it like also like, the other Western demonic spirits and conjuring Nikad Nahi Aave? So you never know. But like that's the whole point, right? There is that
Yeah.
freedom that we could, you know, provide. But ultimate answer, like what I'm convinced that no evil spirits, Western, Indian, or what country doesn't matter. Evil spirit doesn't matter. The entire world belongs to him. Like, what am I talking nonsensical things? But still, we have the discussion that there
Yeah.
is a different description of demonic spirits or evil spirits within different regions. It will be an interesting thing to discuss about those, specifically those origin from India and those aren't.
Mhm. Yeah, so there are many types of negative entities. Again, these negative entities, most of them transcend planes in the sense that they can sort of travel throughout the lokas, not throughout all of the lokas. Of course, the higher lokas, they are not going to be allowing entry to that. But yeah, Bhuloka is the easiest for them to access, and there are many types of entities that can access. And humans have become so weak and physiologically so weak that these entities, they no longer have to travel all the way in order to come towards this plane and then cause havoc over here, because they have to do is possess a human being, and that human being being so weak, they're going to cause the havoc that they need. And these entities are beings that get pleasure from causing havoc, from causing chaos in people's lives. And most of these entities are just Pitrus, just like how they show in the movies. These are just Pitrus, as in ancestors, who are not free from this cycle of life and birth, who are just stuck in this plane for such a long time that they become malevolent altogether. So, yeah, hopefully, we can just discuss all of these in a separate podcast, and it's going to be like a really, really interesting one.
Yes, sir, I agree. I think we've mentioned about few things, but I wanted to end with 1 second. Yep. I wanted to end with a different note. Let me just pull
Mhm.
up this thing. Hold on. Yep. So I think we never did this before, but I think we can do it now. So would you want to end this session with Hanuman Chalisa itself? Would you want to recite Hanuman Chalisa and finish the session?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that would be awesome. So, yeah, let me know when I can start.
Oh, yes, sir. Of course you can.
Okay, so it goes Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijaman Mukura Sudhari Barono Raghuvara Vimala Jasu Jodaya Kapalachari Buddhihina Tanu Janike Sumiro Pavana Kumara Balabuddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harau Kalesha Vikara जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुकेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्रो ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणियति चातुर राम काज कर बेको आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुन बेको रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिय दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए संजीवन लखन जी आए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोयस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद शारद सहित ऐसा जम कुबेर दिखपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कैस कहि कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव कीना राम मिलाय राजपुर दीना तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना युग सहस्त्र जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पर जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेल मुख माहि जल दलांत गए अजरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होठ न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरणा तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जम नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो राम लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चार युग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्धि जगत जियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुपति जाई जहाँ जन्मी हरि भक्त खाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बल पीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शत बार पाठ होई छूटई बंदी महासुख होई। जो या पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा हो या सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरिचेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महाडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरण मंगल मूर्ति राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुरभूपा।
Jai Hanuman.
जय हनुमान जय श्री राम।
So I think this is the first time we did something like this, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, exactly. So good.
And I'm happy because both of us are devotees of Hanuman, and first time we're doing Hanuman Chalisa, and it had to be said. Had to be said.
I mean, it's always special.
Yes, sir. So I think that's the end of today's podcast. We've covered uh, interesting topics again and again. For me to say, yeah, these were interesting. But yeah, we'll come up with a different topic maybe next week again with something more
Mhm.
interesting. So I think that's and from me. You have anything else to share?
No, nothing much from my side. Just Jai Shri Ram. And
Jai
yeah,
Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman.
Jai Hanuman.
So thank you for joining and have a nice evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Yep. You too.